Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have some breaking news today that has been sending shockwaves throughout the global stage, and it's something we need to discuss in depth. Hamas has launched a significant attack on Israeli soldiers, trapping them in a dangerous and vulnerable position. This attack is part of a larger ongoing conflict, and tensions are escalating between the two sides. The situation is now drawing international attention, and Muslim nations are stepping up, taking action against Israel in response. Today, we'll break down the events surrounding Hamas's actions and the global response, and examine what this means for the region and the world. In recent days, Hamas has demonstrated its ability to outmaneuver Israeli forces, and they launched an attack that left Israeli soldiers trapped in Gaza. This attack took Israel by surprise and is now one of the most significant blows Hamas has dealt in recent months. According to reports, Hamas militants trapped a group of Israeli soldiers using underground tunnels. These tunnels have been a key asset for Hamas, allowing them to move troops and launch attacks in ways that are difficult to counter. Hamas's tactics have made it incredibly challenging for Israel to regain control and put the soldiers in a precarious situation. As the attack unfolds, Israeli forces are scrambling to free their trapped soldiers. The situation remains extremely dangerous, with many details still unclear, including the number of casualties. The Israeli military has faced increasing difficulty in maintaining control of Gaza, and this attack showcases the growing strength and sophistication of Hamas. Israel is now being forced to rethink its military strategy, given that their forces are struggling to regain control of the situation. The risk of further escalation looms large. Meanwhile, the international community has reacted with urgency. Countries such as Turkey, Iran, and Qatar have condemned Israel's actions in Gaza and expressed support for Palestine. These nations have promised to increase diplomatic and humanitarian aid, and some have hinted at taking stronger measures, including sanctions and military support for Palestine. This increased backing for Palestine signals a shift in the balance of power in the region. The involvement of these Muslim-majority nations further complicates the geopolitical landscape and raises concerns about a potential larger conflict. Turkey has been one of the most vocal countries in denouncing Israeli actions, calling for an end to Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. They've pledged more humanitarian support for Palestine and warned that Israel's actions will not go unpunished. Similarly, Iran has been outspoken in its criticism of Israel and has promised military support for Palestine if necessary. Iran has long backed Hamas and other Palestinian groups, and its involvement in the conflict could make things more complicated. Qatar has also voiced strong opposition to Israel, pledging more aid to Palestine and further solidifying its support for the cause. The United Nations has called for an immediate ceasefire, urging both Israel and Hamas to de-escalate. However, due to the deep mistrust between the two sides, it's unclear whether international calls for peace will have any impact. Both sides have a long history of animosity, and the path to peace seems elusive. The fear is that this conflict could escalate into a larger regional war, impacting neighboring countries and global stability. Israel has defended its actions, claiming that it is responding to Hamas's continued attacks on Israeli civilians and soldiers. There is significant domestic pressure within Israel to take stronger action against Hamas. Many Israelis are frustrated by the ongoing attacks and are calling for decisive military action. However, the cost of war is high, and both sides are experiencing a rising toll in terms of casualties and destruction. For the people of Gaza, the situation is worsening as Israeli airstrikes continue to target Hamas positions, causing widespread civilian casualties. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is becoming dire. Reports indicate that civilians are suffering from a lack of food, water, and medical supplies. Gaza has been under a blockade by Israel for years, and this has worsened the situation. With the escalation of violence, the crisis is reaching unprecedented levels. International humanitarian organizations have warned that Gaza's population is facing a humanitarian disaster, and aid is urgently needed. The international community is struggling to find a balance between ensuring peace and addressing the humanitarian needs of those caught in the crossfire. The situation in Gaza is a reflection of the larger, ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has been unresolved for decades. The roots of this conflict date back to the early 20th century, and the issues at its heart, the status of Jerusalem, the rights of Palestinian refugees, and the legitimacy of Israel, remain highly contentious. Despite years of negotiation and numerous attempts at peace, these issues have not been resolved, and both sides continue to clash over the future of the region. As the situation continues to unfold, the global community is watching closely. Many are hoping for a peaceful resolution, but the prospects for peace seem dim. The involvement of Muslim-majority nations in this conflict could shift the dynamics, but it also adds layers of complexity. Whether the international community can broker peace, or if the violence will continue to escalate, is uncertain. The path to peace remains difficult, but the hope is that global diplomacy can bring an end to the suffering of both Palestinians and Israelis. The next few days will be critical in determining whether this conflict will spiral further or if diplomatic efforts will make any difference. The world is waiting to see how the situation will develop, and it remains to be seen whether any resolution can be achieved. For the people of Gaza and Israel, the future is uncertain, and the only thing that is clear is that the region's instability is far from over. The international community must come together to find a way forward and end the violence before it reaches even greater proportions. As we continue to watch these developments, the need for action and dialogue is more urgent than ever. The world is holding its breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution, but the path forward is fraught with challenges. The people caught in the middle of this conflict, both in Gaza and Israel, continue to bear the brunt of the violence, and it is their future that is at stake. The coming days and weeks will determine whether this conflict can be resolved or if it will escalate further. It's a turning point in a long and painful history, and the outcome remains uncertain. Thanks for watching. For more updates, subscribe, like, and share my videos.